What up guys, it's Adrian from YouMotorcycle, and in today's video we're going to be talking about how to change the oil on this beautiful Vespa Primavera all by yourself using Piaggio's factory service manual, so you know you're doing it exactly as a dealer would. Now, there are a couple other videos out there about how to do an oil change on this bike, but one doesn't really give instructions and one uses the wrong tools. So I was like, you know what, since I'm doing this anyway, why don't I just make a video showing you guys exactly how to do it by the book. So what I've done is printed out a couple pages of Vespa service manual, obviously, and we're going to be going through it. I'm going to show you exactly what tools you need, what specifications you need, and what parts I use. All right, so what do we need for the oil change? Well, oil. SAE 5W40. I will put up the actual specifications. It's motorcycle specific, so it's on the screen right now. Going to need a torque wrench, a 24mm bit, any kind of oil filter that makes your heart feel good. They're all sort of universal. KN 183. I'm also going to link to everything I use up in the description box down below. And lastly, a drain pan to catch your old oil in. So before we get started, there are a few things that you want to do first before we start the oil change. The first one is to warm up your Vespa. So you saw I already had it running. They say run it for a few minutes in the service manual and then leave it sitting for 5. Now, this is also a very good time to check the oil level. That'll tell you if the last oil change was done properly or if you've been burning any oil since the last time you changed the oil, if you did it yourself. I will show you guys at the end of the video how to do that. You guys might have noticed I also changed. Put on some clothes you don't mind getting dirty. Maybe get some gloves for your hands as well. And lastly, you're going to want to remove this. That's your oil fill cap. The reason why we take this off before is because A, it lets the oil drain out a little bit easier, and B, because we don't want to drain all the oil out, and maybe this is seized on and now we can't get oil back in. Carefully don't burn your hand by the exhaust pipe. All right, now we can go ahead and get started changing the oil. All right, so now we grab our 24mm, and this silver one right here, that's your drain plug. Now, if you don't have a stand, you're going to have the center stand in the way, so you're going to want to use a funnel just to try and direct the oil in the direction you want it to go. In my case, I'm lucky. I got this table for lift from Discount Ramps. I'll post a link to it down below. It was actually pretty cheap, paid for itself, and makes my life very easy. This doesn't fit. Let's see what else we got. All right, so now that's been broken loose, I want to get my drain pan in the way. If you're going to do this by hand, I recommend being very careful so you don't burn yourself against the exhaust pipe or with the hot oil. And I hope you guys can see how dark that oil is. There's also a screen in there. We're going to wait until everything's out before we clean that screen up. All right, so now we can pull this strainer out. And it actually looks fairly clean. Oh, a little bit of gook right in this corner. Hope you guys can see that. So basically we're going to take that out, we're going to wipe it clean with a cloth, and then reinsert it after we've cleaned it up. So I like to push it back in and then just twist it a bit to make sure it's in place. Now in my opinion, getting the filter off, which is your next step, is the hardest part, because it's a very small space and it's a very small filter and not a lot of your wrenches are going to fit in here. As you can see, an adjustable wrench definitely helps. And eventually you should be able to just take it off with your hand. There we go. The beautiful thing about oil changes is as long as the last person did it right, it's always super easy. So far it's been trouble-free. Now we just really need to basically prep this new filter. We're basically going to put our finger in some clean oil, wipe around that circle of the ring. Once that's lubricated, we can just screw it back in place where the old one was. We can do it by hand. I'm going to put the torque specification up here. I think it's 5 to 6 Newton meters. But the other option is hand tight and then half a turn. So up to you, whatever you prefer. All right, let's do it. So you guys can see it does come a little bit kind of wet and shiny looking, but I think we can put a lot more lube than this. And that way the next time we do the oil change, it's going to still be a really easy job. All right, you're probably going to want gloves for this. If you're not already wearing them, I just kind of wet the cap like that. And then what's left in here, I get my finger nice and wet, and I run it all the way around. And that stops the filter from being stuck to the motor the next time you do your oil change. If you skip this, you're going to have a bad time. They say from here, go hand tight and then half a turn, or 5 to 6 Newton meters. So if you have a torque wrench, put 5 to 6 Newton meters. If not, you can go hand tight and then an extra half turn. And when you ride, it will tighten up, so don't just go as hard as you can. If you're not sure, grab a torque wrench. They're like $30, $40. It stops you from over-tightening, which could damage your casing, and from under-tightening, which could end up causing a leak. Now I'm going to put the drain plug back in, same process. Now on the drain plug, you're going to notice that there is no O-ring like there is on a lot of other drain plugs on motorcycles, for example. But there is this little black seal, and again, same thing. You're just going to want to make sure that the seal is in good shape, that it's not kind of beaten or worn or out of place. Then you're going to want to lubricate it with some clean oil, and then you're going to want to reinstall it. So I'll start off by hand. I hope you guys noticed I put the torque spec while I was doing that. Make sure you guys do follow that torque spec. Don't over tighten or under tighten. So now all it's left to do is refill your Vespa. It takes 1.43 liters of oil. And what I do to make this easy is I grab a clean funnel first. All right, guys, now remember to never get your clean funnel and your dirty funnel mixed. Why? Because that's no funnel at all. Now you might see some overflow on your exhaust pipe. So it doesn't say to do this in the manual, but I just put a rag there just to try and catch it. All right, so now is my favorite part. Now is when we just check the bike and make sure we did everything right. So what we're going to do, fire up the bike. We're going to see if the low oil light comes on, stays on, whatever. We're going to look for anything dripping underneath. We're going to let it run for a few minutes, and then we're going to check the oil level. The low oil level did come on, but it went away after about 2 seconds, so that's good. Now we're going to check for any leaks. Looks good. And now, as for the service manual, we're going to let it sit for 5 minutes. Now, the service manual says this next part has to be done with the bike on the center stand. So that's why I'm taking it out of the chalk and on the center stand. All right, so the only thing left to do now is to check the oil level. So to do that, we are going to take the dipstick out, wipe it totally clean. You want it really dry. Excellent. Put it back in. Careful because your exhaust pipe might still be a little warm. Tighten it all the way. Take it back out. Now you'll see the dipstick has like a high and low range where it's kind of rippled. The bottom would be your min, the top would be your max. Anything more is too much, anything beneath is too little. And there you go. So that to me looks perfect. Well, that's it for me, guys. I hope you found this video helpful. If you do, please give it a big thumbs up. Please also consider subscribing to my channel to help the channel grow. If you like motorcycle content, I think that it's probably a good choice for you to do. I'm going to have more Vespa videos coming out because I also have my own Vespa over there that I'm going to be working on. So I'll be putting out more Vespa content. If that's your kind of jam, hit subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. Ride safe. Hit the like button. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Peace.